Welcome to all the E-Type Club members and E-Type Jaguar enthusiasts. Just want to give you a little update where I am. Just taking the car. You can see here that we've actually put the cloths in over the sponges, and then this, I think they call this moquette. I think this moquette on the sides. We put the sponge in, or the foam in for the bottom one, and we've got the piece ready to go on. One of the things that I wanted to say, and I'm sure this is fairly obvious, but I don't really think about it too much. The garage here in Austria is around about, it's around 8 degrees, 7 degrees, but I've got a space heater, you know, one of these, they call it Hertz oil, paraffin, blower, rocket type heaters. And it seemed quite warm in here. It seemed like it was about 15, 18 degrees, but the problem is that the body, the metal of the body is quite cold. You know, you can feel it to touch. So with using glues, you've got to be very careful. I mean, really, an interior job like this really, I guess, should be done in the summertime. But most of us work on these classic cars in the winter because they're off the road. But anyway, if you're going to do it, what we found is a good trick is use, I've got a heat gun, and what we're doing is just lightly heating the panels, just to take the coldness out of the metal. Particularly if you just put in this first fabric underneath. You can see how tight that is there now, it's like a drum. If you don't do that, I mean, once you put the moquette over the top, or whatever you're putting over vinyl, it's not too much of a problem, because this works as a bit of an insulator, this. But putting it straight onto metal, yeah, bit of an issue. So, you know, something to be careful of. I mean, obviously you don't want it too hot so the glue goes on and it gets too sticky, but, you know, an air dryer will do the same thing, basically. The other thing I wanted to show you was I talked to you guys earlier about the throttle pedal, and what I've done is I've actually the only thing I could think of with this linkage was to try and tighten up these brackets at the back here a little bit. And what I've done is I've used the security wire that you use for the IRS or for the radius arms, and I've tightened it up, and as you can see, it's still thingy, but it's nothing like it was. It's much better than it was, but it's still, and it's very tight. So that's just movement in the bottom of the linkage there, and then up the top here. So that bolt's absolutely tight, but it's better than it was, much, you know, still not 100% great. The other thing is, a friend of mine, well, a guy I know on YouTube, he's called John Shepherd. He has a 65, absolutely original, very low mileage, I think under 10,000 miles. And when I mentioned about putting rubber on here, he said, you know, you don't want to do that because they were designed to be just metal. You know, this is something you learn from other people, and that's the great thing about the E-Type Club and people in not in business, but that are restoring cars. And apparently the reason is because your foot tends to slide down here when you're throttling forward when you're sat in the seat, because I've no seats in it. I can't, and I've only ever driven one E-Type before, one from a guy not far from me 4 or 5 months ago. And when I had my garage business, I had a car, I had an E-Type, and we did some work on, and I just drove it around the block. I didn't really notice this, so that's something to think about. Apparently if you put rubber on it, your foot won't slide down as easy, and that was the standard. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. The doors now have all fitted up, and I'm now putting these covers back on. Everything's greased up, ready to go. I've made some sponges up for the doors, but I'm going to actually make some better ones than that. I'll show you around the back. These crash rolls on the top, I've just done this one, I've just retrimmed this one, and there's a piece that clips on there now, on the inside for the window. Obviously this is not in properly yet. And I made a bit of a faux pas. Here's fine. This doesn't have to, because this is where the chrome rail goes along here, and then the door card fits up into it. But where I screwed up was It's right there on the end. I did it right here, but I cut the end too short there, so I'm going to have to actually strip it off and start again. This needs to be folded in. I thought that chrome was like that on that edge, where it was covered, and that it wasn't. I made a mistake. So something to be careful of with these crash rails, or crash, I think they call them crash rails, or crash covers or something. So yeah, I'll have to take this off and redo it, unfortunately. But yeah, we're just basically going through all this stuff, and as you can see, starting to have a look about how the carpets go in and so on. And one good thing about this kit I got from John Skinner is they've made, because you don't need to get to this plug very often, because it's actually the only thing you need to do is get to the right angle drive and the speedo. But on the other side, they've made I'll just show you. They've made a pocket, like a mat pocket with two press studs. So it allows you to pull this flap up and actually take this out and check your gearbox level, which is something you want to look for. Anyway, that's it. Battery's running out. The last thing to show you is this. Tomorrow we're going to go down and start sandblasting these frames. I've stripped them down as far as I can. I've taken lots of photographs, and once they're sandblasted we can see where we are. See, there's some of the interior. Anyway, thanks for watching in, guys, and if you like them, subscribe. Take care and bye for now. Bye.